The 2026 Oscar nominations for Best Picture are here, and it's quite a mix. Big budget popcorn fare, indie darlings, and some movies that are clearly better than the competition. F1's groundbreaking camera work has been the subject of endless discussion since its June 2025 release. Less discussed, though, is how director Joseph Kosinski opts for such limp framing and blocking whenever people aren't zooming around in cars. Awkward cuts and cramped blocking abound in this big-budget title, which follows veteran Formula One racer Sonny Hayes and rookie Joshua Pierce working together to snatch victory for the distraught APXGP F1 team.
There's 20 other drivers still out on that track. Do you think any of them respect us?
In previous works like Only the Brave, Kosinski could realize simple images like an aspiring firefighter limping to the end of a run as visually distinctive. It's bizarre to see those talents squandered in these crowd-pleaser high-octane confines. Frustratingly flaccid imagery speaks to how F1 has minimal innovation going on under the hood, beyond some fun, flashy camera tricks. The plot, for one thing, isn't nearly unique or fun enough to justify either a 155-minute runtime or the lackadaisical camera work. Sonny Hayes is more irritating than lovable, while the supporting APXGP players, like an ultra-feminine lady member of the pit crew team, never get any depth or personalities. Even the score isn't anything special, as Hans Zimmer phones in generic American blockbuster movie compositions. Altogether, F1 is a drastic step down from prior Kosinski blockbusters and other 2026 Best Picture Oscar nominees. Guillermo del Toro makes handsome-looking movies. It's impossible to deny that reality when absorbing the luscious costumes and sets of his long-in-the-works vision of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Sadly, though, the freakier and more unpredictable elements that once populated his filmography are frustratingly absent here. No babies that are actually tumors or fish-human romance to be found here. Frankenstein instead is a more respectable feature, functioning as a straightforward retelling of the original novel. There's some fun to be had even in those buttoned-up familiar confines. In particular, a stretch of the story where Frankenstein's monster befriends an elderly blind man is terrific. Speaking of the monster, Jacob Elordi's performance is tremendous.
Single word.
What is it?
Victor.
However, other elements frustrate, including the weird underutilization of Mia Goth as a radically reimagined version of Lady Elizabeth Harlander. The film adaptation's simplistic moral shadings rob the Frankenstein story of its most powerful dramatic punches as well. The monster especially is too pure and faultless. It's a strange decision, robbing the character of a more layered portrayal. Even the digital camera work frustrates. Del Toro's Frankenstein often looks way too clean and devoid of atmosphere for a gothic horror piece. There's still the trademark Del Toro craftsmanship scattered throughout the runtime, but Frankenstein needed to be more beastly and less of a conventional rehash of the director's previous work. Sometimes an artist's great triumphs cast an unfairly long shadow. A painter, singer, or filmmaker might have created a previous work so magnificent that subsequent endeavors inevitably can't measure up. In this case, Joachim Trier was always going to struggle making an equal to his previous masterpiece, The Worst Person in the World. That tremendous accomplishment is the kind of movie that doesn't come around every day, so naturally his next directorial effort, Sentimental Value, was a step down in quality. Of course, that doesn't erase the shortcomings here. This go-around Trier script about messy people occasionally descends into very familiar bad dad apologia, while its ending is much too tidy for its more jagged narrative.
But he's a very difficult person. We can't really talk.
Even while recognizing those flaws, though, there's still so much to recommend in Sentimental Value. For starters, Trier's gift for wrangling outstanding performances out of his actors continues once again, with another dazzling Renata Reinseva lead turn. What a magnetic artist she is, fully throwing herself into every richly detailed corner of these multifaceted human beings. Cinema legend Stellan Skarsgård is also a riveting triumph as the film's central troubled father. It's impressive how effortlessly he dances between exuding charm and an ambiance that makes it clear why his character wasn't a great parent. The Worst Person in the World's shadow looms large over Sentimental Value, but it doesn't erase all that Trier accomplishes here. Once more, the director lays bare flawed people and reminds audiences they're not alone in navigating everyday turmoil. It's a travesty Train Dreams only spent a limited time in theaters because it looks absolutely stunning on a big screen. The precise and poetic imagery realized by Clint Bentley and cinematographer Adolfo Veloso is just extraordinary. They make the natural early 20th century world of Bonner's Ferry, Idaho, an absorbing domain to spend 2 hours. Inhabiting those luscious locales is lead character Robert Grenier, whose life is one marked by constant turmoil. Jobs take him far away from his family for extended periods of time, while a raging wildfire eventually brings unspeakable tragedy to his life.
There's just not coming back.
The tininess of one life in the grand scope of existence is a core element of Train Dreams. That notion is conveyed beautifully throughout its runtime, as Bentley deftly reinforces how Grenier is dwarfed by both the passage of time and the larger natural world. Edgerton is also a transfixing anchor for the proceedings, conveying believable reality as a quiet, aching man beset by pervasive horrors. The melancholy ambiance he and the visuals whip up is hard to resist. Granted, Train Dreams does stumble sometimes on a screenwriting level. Will Patton's narration occasionally reinforces ideas better communicated through grand tableaus, and the mid-movie tragedy sending Grenier's world into chaos is a little predictable. Though not quite as sublime narratively as it is visually, Train Dreams is still a remarkable feat that imbues immense, tremendous emotional power into objects as simple as boots nailed to a tree. As the world at large descends into nonstop chaos, it's up to the freakiest filmmakers to properly reflect the madness of real life. Director Yorgos Lanthimos certainly fits that bill. When he and Emma Stone team up, it's always a bizarre treat, cranking up the weirdness to speak to something very true about humanity. That trend continues with 2025's Bugonia, a remake of the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet. Jesse Plemons and Aidan Delbus play a pair of conspiracy theorists, Teddy and Dawn, who kidnap Stone's pharmaceutical CEO, Michelle Fuller. They truly believe she's an alien bent on destroying the world. Bugonia has plenty of fascinatingly uncomfortable dark comedy, including Dawn's incredulous reactions to Teddy's most outlandish claims.
You won't notice unless you know what you're looking for.
Guess I can see it.
Stone also draws some bleak laughs by retaining her clinical, press release-ready speaking style, even as she's chained to a basement and tortured.
Can we have a dialogue, please?
Don't call it dialogue. This isn't Death of a Salesman.
There is genuine tension here, though, much of it stemming from the character's curated disinterest in certain types of human suffering. Across all economic classes, the anguish of others is immaterial. The goal is everything. Bugonia forces viewers to contend with a tragically prominent mindset in the modern world. Lanthimos and cinematographer Robbie Ryan deliver tons of striking blocking, making use of the film's narrower than typical aspect ratio. The trio of lead performances from Stone, Plemons, and Delbus are also excellent. They deliver rough chuckles and recognizable human emotion to a freaky, paranoia-driven mirror of modern madness. Marty Supreme takes off like a rocket from its very first frame, and it never lets up. Writer-director Josh Safdie isn't just moving a mile a minute here, he's practically a roadrunner darting from one hysterical set piece to the next. The most propulsive ping-pong movie ever made, the saga of Timothée Chalamet's Marty Mauser concerns the ultimate underdog in a world stacked with obstacles. He may not have money, but what he does have is pure confidence, which helps when he's facing off against ruthless businessmen and dangerous mobsters.
And it's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
There's never a boring moment in Marty Supreme, whether the embattled hero is running from the cops or falling through a hotel ceiling during a bath. Featuring immensely detailed sets and a cavalcade of discernibly authentic performers, Marty Supreme's transfixing world makes 2.5 hours feel like 90 minutes. And don't forget Daniel Lopatton's unforgettable score. That said, the best part of Marty Supreme is definitely Marty himself. Chalamet gives 110% whenever he's embodying the motor-mouthed ping-pong player. Don't be surprised if he ends up taking home the Best Actor award.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that the people who populate our history books were still ordinary human beings underneath it all. Just like anyone, they got scared, excited, or overwhelmed by the world's chaos. This includes William Shakespeare and his wife Agnes, the latter of whom is the centerpiece of Chloe Zhao's latest deeply moving triumph, Hamnet.
The women in my family see things.
What do you see?
Viewed through Agnes, William is a normal man. In these intimate confines, the couple's tragedies hit all the harder. Zhao's Hamnet vision is often a dreamlike tableau full of esoteric imagery concerning gaping holes in the forest. These visuals, beyond just being surface-level striking, are magnificent reflections of loss's inexplicable nature. We don't get tidy answers regarding the most harrowing aches upending our lives. Hamnet beautifully reflects that reality in so many ways. The complexities of grappling with tragedy are also vividly realized through Jessie Buckley's central performance as Agnes. She proves in countless ways that she's skilled at both the most outsized flourishes and more intimate displays of Agnes's interiority. Luca Zhao's impressively precise Hamnet cinematography perfectly complements Zhao and Buckley's artistic chops. From top to bottom, this exercise is a triumph in craftsmanship and pathos. We cannot avoid suffering great unspeakable turmoil in this life, whether we're William Shakespeare or just a modern soul. Works like Hamnet, though, tenderly and beautifully remind us we're not alone in that aching. The revolution will not be televised, as Gil Scott-Heron once sang, but it came to movie theaters with the excellent One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson, director of critical darlings like There Will Be Blood and Phantom Thread, turned the Thomas Pynchon novel Vineland into the best action comedy of the year. Anderson's talent for crafting A-list ensemble casts is on full display. Leonardo DiCaprio, always at his best when he's sweaty and frantic, plays a revolutionary-turned-stoner dad who has to rescue his daughter when his past catches up to him. As good as he is, though, it's the supporting performances that really shine. Like Chase Infinity as Bob's daughter Willa, who'd never been on the big screen before but instantly became a movie star. Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, and Regina Hall all light up the screen with richly detailed performances, while Sean Penn brings new meaning to the word menacing. From its explosive opening to its climactic chase sequence, One Battle After Another perfectly balances social commentary, nail-biting thrills, and plenty of laughs. With a rebellious spirit and plenty of twists and turns, it's a crowd pleaser that begs to be rewatched.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. God damn it! Viva la revolution!
The secret agent begins with a decaying corpse in a parking lot lazily covered by a piece of cardboard. A perfect metaphor for the barely concealed rot at the heart of the Brazilian military dictatorship in 1977. Writer-director Kleber Mendoza Filho's masterful political thriller stars Best Actor nominee Wagner Moura as Armando, a former professor who returns to the city of Recife in search of the truth about his family's past under the noses of corrupt authority figures. The horrors of existing in this era of Brazil's history are palpable throughout The Secret Agent, but Filho doesn't reduce these characters to non-stop misery. Instead, he emphasizes intimate scenes of Armando and other marginalized souls living under the cover of Dona Sebastiana, learning each other's stories and trying to enjoy life despite their horrific circumstances. The nuance and humanity that the dictatorship sought to erase from teachers, immigrants, and other oppressed individuals is deftly restored, as dozens of memorable characters fight back in their own ways. There's a reason it was nominated for Best Casting after all. Every ounce of The Secret Agent is a remarkable triumph, including Wagner Moura's unforgettable lead performance, Evgenia Alexandrova's cinematography, and the unforgettable ending. Just as fascism's horrors reverberate well into the present, a film as excellent as The Secret Agent is impossible to forget. What a pleasant surprise it is to see Sinners become an Oscar darling. In nearly every respect, it doesn't fit the mold of a typical Academy Award nominee. It was released all the way back in April, it's unabashedly a horror film, its tone is complicated, switching between comedy, romance, and blood-soaked thrills. Director Ryan Coogler's latest achievement is also a completely original work, rather than an adaptation or a rehash. Yet, here it is, Sinners unquestionably one of the year's greatest Best Picture Oscar nominees.
Y'all ready to eat? Yeah. Y'all ready to drink? Yeah. Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink? Yeah.
All the qualities that would, on paper, make Sinners a no-go as an Oscar heavyweight are what make it an outstanding piece of art. It entertains in every single scene, whether it's depicting people chatting at a train station or gnarly fights with vampires. Much of that value comes from Coogler's go-for-the-gusto creative sensibilities, which include delivering the unforgettable I Lied to You musical number that blurs the lines between the past, present, and future to mesmerizing effect. Anyone who saw this set piece in IMAX 70mm knew right away that the sequence was an instant classic. And then there's the outstanding cast, anchored by Michael B. Jordan, pulling double duty as twin gangsters. Jordan's impressively subtle portrayal of Smoke and Stack's distinct personalities is remarkable. Supporting players Wunmi Mosaku and Delroy Lindo also astonish. Sinners is loaded with fervent creativity that feels truly unprecedented in cinema. The Oscars are lucky to have it in so many categories this year.